one of the ways we do this is that we're live. So you can't be interactive if you're not live. It's very hard if you're doing a podcast, recording it and then putting it out later. The time shift hurts you. Yeah. So we make our money on recorded podcasts, but increasingly, I think going forward, what the future is in live interactive media, and that's why I've moved all of what I do onto the internet as live, so you can watch live and participate live. We don't make any money off the live yet; it's brand new. Again, this is that bootstrapping I was talking about, where you use the revenue from one idea to help you get into the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and I'm very careful about that. And so we've bootstrapped. I don't know if you know what that term means. It's by pulling.
I'm going to Google it.
It's a American cliche. The idea comes from pulling yourself up by your own bootstraps. In the early days of America, we had this mythology that anybody could make it in America, and the way you would do it is by pulling yourself up, by pulling the backs of your boots up. And that, of course, is nonsensical. You can't do that. But it's become now a phrase in business, particularly in internet business and new media, where you let the income from your previous operation finance your future operation. Yeah. So I started in old media. I continue to work in old media. And initially I didn't have to take any money out of this business because I was making a living doing something else, so I could build a business. And even today, most of the money that we make doesn't go to me, doesn't go to salaries, but goes to building the business. And we're going to continue to do that. So we took the podcast, the revenues from the audio podcasts, and right now that's where our revenue is, but we're using that to fund what I think will be the next generation, which is live internet.
But we are already doing live, right?
Yeah, so we don't make any money on it yet.
Okay, we don't.
So I think in the long run, this is how we'll make money, is we'll have ads in the live stuff. But until then, the recorded stuff is supporting the live stuff.
So currently you run 14 podcasts, and you're broadcasting almost every day, except when you go to China or it's Friday, right?
Yeah.
So what gives you the energy of doing all this?
I sit on a rubber ball.
Okay.
That's what gives me the energy. I'm bouncing all the time. Seriously, that's part of it. But what really gives me the energy is I really like doing this. It's not work for me. It's really just sitting and talking with people. I mean, does anybody ever say to you, does it take a lot of energy to sit at your table, have beer, and talk with your friends?
I love it.
It's easy. There's no energy. That's your time off. Well, that's what I'm doing. So this is much like my time off. I actually have to be very protective of myself because I would spend all the time here. I want to be here all the time. I have new show ideas all the time. I could do 12 or 14 hours a day here, and I would kill myself. So I have to kind of force myself to take time off because this is fun. I love doing this.
Yeah. What does your family say if your daughter's leaving? And
my daughter was
you
here.
Didn't even see her because you were talking to me. So thanks for that.
No, I'll see her later tonight. I live about a mile. Now, one of the things that's been really great is when I first was in media, you have to go to the big city, right? So to do television, I did television for 6 years. I commuted from here. We live in a small town in the wine country. It's beautiful. You've seen it, Moritz. It's gorgeous here.
I went here.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
And it's about an hour north of San Francisco. I used to drive every day to San Francisco because in order to be in the media, you have to go to the big media city. I didn't want to leave. In fact, the truth is, to be a real success in media in America, you have to go to Los Angeles or New York City, and I wasn't willing to do either of those. That kind of holds your career back. So in a way, this has been very good for my family because I now am able to do what I want to do. I can do national radio, international podcasts, international video from a little town in the middle of nowhere, have a wonderful life. I live a mile away from here. I walk home. My family's there. My son and my daughter, who are teenagers, just pop in. As you see, they just pop in and hang out. I love that. So in a way, this is good for my family. This is better than traditional media for my family.
Yeah. Then they would have to live in New York with you, or you would have you would travel a lot.
Yeah. I used to travel a lot. I used to do a lot of commuting. I don't have to do that anymore.
So do you think this would be, I asked this already, but maybe there's a very short answer on it. Do you think this is the future model for much more journalists like us as well? We start doing this as well, but it's not profitable yet.
Yes, I do think it's the future. I think that you may still have large media organizations. I'm not sure that I can see the future there, but I think there's no question in my mind that all of this is going to get smaller, grassroots, more interactive, The younger people like you who can kind of see this and can kind of use this technology will have a huge head start. You won't be able to make a living in it today. I would keep your day job, but I think I would continue to build this and have faith in it because it is the future. It might be a little slower in Germany than it is here, but it is the future, absolutely.
Is there anything you think you're too old for? Like you
I am too old for it.
No, obviously not. But
I am too old
people,
for it.
like, is there anything your childs understand and you don't? So I had this with
No, you know what's
4chan.
funny?
With 4chan, you know, I was looking at it and I said, okay.
Yeah, that
this
took
is
me a
really-
while to get 4chan too. I think I understand this better than my kids do, but they're growing up in it. I mean, ultimately, they're going to outpace me. I feel very lucky. I'm 52 years old. I feel very lucky that I can do what I'm doing on the cutting edge of media, to be able to be a creator and a participant in a revolution, to talk to an audience of all ages. You know, that's one thing that's interesting. I'm not just talking to young people. Our audience is everybody from 12-year-olds to 80-year-olds. And one thing we found is we all have a common interest in technology. So this is also really important, is that you create a community. It used to be a community to be people who lived around you, people you knew or people you worked with. Now you can create a community globally. I've never met you. I've never met Phil, but you guys are my friends, right? We know each other because we know through technology. We know through what's happening in this world. So we have a global community of friends. That's really exciting. I mean, I think that's really a transformation, and it's a new way of doing media. It's not like the old way. Do I know what it's going to look like? No, but I can see it happening now. And if you're in media, what is your goal? Why do you get into media? You get into media because you have a story you want to tell, because you want to find news stories, you want to communicate with people. Well, that's what this is.
Yeah.
Direct drive. You're right there, right talking to people directly, instead of disintermediated by a big corporation who gives you permission to talk, by directors and camera operators and all those people who are in between you and your audience. You now talk directly to your audience, whether it's in a blog, whether it's in a podcast or streaming video. You talk directly to your audience, you communicate directly, and they talk back to you. And it really is the future of media. I have no doubt in my mind of how it's going to look, how you're going to make a living. I have no idea.
Do you see any counterparts in that model?
Counterparts?
Like
people who are doing what I'm doing?
Yeah, no, like if all media would be like this wonderful.
What would be the
place where
negatives?
You can do what you, yeah, what would
Well,
be the
there's
negative in
there's
your
some
eyes?
serious negatives. And some of them, I talk about this a lot. This is a topic of conversation on my shows with people I talk to.
Yeah.
Every time I talk to people like you who are traditional journalists, we all want to know what's going to happen. There are some negatives. The first thing people say is, well, who's going to pay for investigative reporting? Who's going to pay for real journalism? And I think that we're starting to see the answers to that. It's actually happening. Huffington Post, which is a news blog in the United States, is paying $1.5 million for investigative journalism. They're putting money into this. So there is money there. They see the need for this. I think it was Jay Rosen who talks about this, teaches at New York University, teaches journalism, who said we got to stop crying to save the newspapers and save journalism. Journalism is what we need to save, not the way the journalism gets to you. People confuse the medium with the message. They confuse the business model with the job. We are, newspapers were created so that they could have big display ads. I mean, that's what newspapers are about. They're about ads, a way of delivering ads. They put content in there so you'll buy the newspaper, so you'll see the display ad. We don't need newspapers to have journalism. It's a natural human urge to find the story and tell the story, to get the truth out. That's normal. People are going to continue to do that. You don't need this piece of paper to do that.
That would.
Yeah, and we have a better medium now. We have an instantaneous, real-time, global communication system that anybody can become a part of, that kills no trees, is very low cost to create content. We have a much better way of doing it. The only thing we haven't figured out is how do we make money at it. But if all of these dead tree media are dying, if the traditional media are dying, advertisers still need to advertise. Where are they going to go? They're going to go to whoever has a community around them. So that's what I have. I have a community around me. Advertisers come to me and say, we want to talk to your community. And I tell them, I'm a gatekeeper. I say, well, wait a minute. If you're going to talk to my community, you have to talk to my community with respect. You have to treat them as equals. You can't try to trick them into buying a product. You have to tell them what's good about your product, give them an offer, and come to them as a member of the community. And then if you treat them with respect, I promise you, I will treat you with respect. I will help you be treated with respect by my audience, and you will do well. And they're discovering it really works. It's a whole new model for advertising even. You know, we don't have to do tricks anymore.